Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's tea time. I need my spatula, so hang tight. Just realized I needed a few things. How's everyone doing? Welcome to making some gingerbread granola today. I'm going to get right into the recipe and then talk as it's baking because I will talk now and spend a lot of time talking. So I'm going to get right to the recipe, which is from Dreena's Kind Kitchen. Yep, there it is there. And doesn't this look sweet and lovely and festive, right? So this recipe I've had for a while and it's on my site as well. And I really wanted to do a video with it today because this is a recipe that I make every year because it's festive and also to gift, right? You can gift this and people love to receive food gifts. And we get a lot of chocolate at Christmas, which I'm going to do a video about chocolate too. Maybe next week or maybe even before that, I want to show you my chocolate bark. But this one is so nice to gift to people when you're getting a lot of chocolate. And just look how pretty that looks. Tying ribbons around the jar. It's beautiful and it's healthy and it's just yummy. Hi, Cindy, and hello, Melissa. Yay, I'm glad you made it to alive as well. So let's get to it. Speaking of chocolate bark, I have mine. I've already been making my chocolate bark to gift, and it's so good. So this is my tea with chocolate. Today I'm going to show you the chocolate bark. I want to show you some of my favorite pieces. Yes, I have favorite pieces of chocolate bark because when I make this, I know that's crazy, right? When I make this, I like to make it really thin. So then the pieces that are in there, the nuts, the seeds, the goodies inside kind of shine through and it's easy to eat. It's not like eating a huge thick piece of bark, which is what the store-bought bark is like. And when you make it at home, you can make it really thin. It's delectable. Oh my gosh, I'm already talking. I'm already gone past what I was going to do. So look at that. See how nice and thin that is? Okay, close up. Boop. Okay, so this one has someone hearting the close-up. Heart the close-up, guys. This one has toasted pumpkin seeds and crystallized ginger in there and sea salt on the top and a dusting. Actually, my next batch, I'm going to do a dusting of vanilla powder. Insanely good, right? So I like to make it as thin as I can. I've already been gifting this. It's so good. It's so good. So I'm going to do my next tea time video is going to be making the bark to show you how to make it, a couple of ideas for customizing it, and how to make it really thin and delectable. It's like it melts in your mouth. It's so good. I have to hide it. I have it all in jars, and I have it in the fridge and in the garage. And people then know it's for gifting and not for them, but I'm allowed to have it. I have a couple of jars stored away just for me. Hey, Christine, glad to have you here. And she's saying she loves this recipe. Thank you. Oh, Miss Cindy has a midday. Hey, I had some midday square this morning. I'm really into the crispy one right now, the red package bar. Okay, so I'm going to get there. I'm going to get into the recipe. My tea is over here. Hang on. I was cooling down my tea by the window. That's what I do when it's too hot. I crack open the window and put it in front of the window so we'll cool it down nicely. Okay, so we're going to get to the bark. I'm going to put down the screen and get into it. All right. So we have 3 cups of rolled oats. Where's my measuring cup? I was doing so good. There we go. So 3 cups. Now this is a single batch. Normally when I make this, I will probably triple a batch. And one of my recipe testers and someone I've come to know, become friends with online, kind of like all of my recipe testers, she tends to make this in even larger batches. She's told me that she has made this batch like a 6 times. What would that be? Like quadruple is 4. What is it for 6? Anyway, she has made the batch times 6 to gift. And so that's a lot of granola. I'm so impressed by that. I've never made that much. So 3 cups of rolled oats. And then we have spices, which I've already measured out. And we have cinnamon, ground ginger, allspice, a little bit of cloves. You could also add nutmeg if you want. And if you're making this for little ones and you're concerned they might not like the ginger, then just back off. Maybe put in half a teaspoon. I have a teaspoon in here. And what am I looking for? So that's actually the dry ingredients. The salt I've already put in there. It's just a pinch of salt, like a quarter teaspoon of salt. And then we have to get the wet ingredients together. So this is an oil-free granola. And as such, we're using nut butter to give it some whole foods fats and to bring it together. And I give an option in the recipe to use seed butter if you can't have nuts, okay? Now, let's talk about the sweeteners. So in the book, when I put this recipe in the book, I call for coconut nectar because I have so many people complaining about brown rice syrup. I can't tell you. Like, I get comments on it. I get emails about it. People do not want to use brown rice syrup, and I am okay with it. It is not, for me, I'm like, it's not a concern. I'm not bothered using brown rice syrup. I have a light on it. It's really too bright in my face. I'm just going to move it here. Okay. Oh. I need tech people. I have no tech people, guys. It's just me, my computer, and a little light here. Anyways, I'm just going to turn it down a bit. Nope. Okay. I don't know. Is that better? I don't know. Wow. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing with this light, by the way. None. Anyhow, brown rice syrup. So people don't want to use it because of arsenic in rice and reports of arsenic in rice. This light's driving me crazy. I'm just going to move it away because it's actually really bothering me now. Oh, it's not making a difference. Maybe it's the light from the window. Okay, so I am not concerned about it to that degree. I use brown rice syrup in this recipe. I don't use it all the time. And we don't know the sourcing of the brown rice that's being used in that syrup either. At least I don't think so. But for anybody that is very concerned, that's why I give the option to use coconut nectar. But you need a thick one. You need a really thick coconut nectar. They vary so much in texture. So I have bought coconut nectars that are as thin as maple syrup. And for a granola, the reason it gets clustery, all those nice clusters, is because you're using a thick sweetener. So traditionally, it may have been like corn syrup, right? So we're using brown rice syrup, which has a similar thick texture. And this kind of coconut nectar does. So I'm going to show it to you in the camera. Yeah, I'm really, I will figure this out one day. Do you see it in the jar, how it's thick? So this is how I test it in stores. This is a brand which I looked both on Amazon and Thrive Market for this one, and I couldn't find it online. But the brand is Coco Natura Coconut Flower Nectar. And see how it's thick when you tip it? It's not like maple syrup. So that's kind of has a similar consistency to brown rice syrup. Brown rice syrup is a little thicker. It is definitely a little thicker. So we're going to use that today. But I had a question come up in my Plant Powered Families Facebook group today. By the way, if you're not in the group, just search Plant Powered Families on Facebook and join the group because people are asking lots of questions. I make recipes and show them. And it's a really, really nice, safe, encouraging place to talk about vegan recipes, talk about plant-based food. Okay, so I'm going to measure out how much am I using? Quarter cup. I forget when I'm doing my recipes, you know. Okay. So you'll see when I'm pouring this now, oh my gosh, it's so slow. It's thick like molasses. You don't want to keep it in the fridge unless you really think you're not going to use it much at all because it's so thick it will become very hard to measure pour, you would have to wait for it to come to room temp again. But see how thick that is? And this is why the granola becomes very clustery. I could have measured this out beforehand, but I kind of wanted you guys to see. Maybe I'll open up, top it off with the coconut nectar so you can see the difference. So you don't want to use all maple syrup. It's just not thick enough. So here's the coconut nectar. See that? So it's thick, but it's not quite as thick. Yeah. Oop, a little bit more. Okay. I'm making a mess all over the jar. It's almost impossible to not make a mess on those jars. Or if there's a way, I have not discovered it. Look at that. What a mess. And there is 1.5 tablespoons of molasses in this recipe too. But I did not realize I was out of molasses. I thought I had some, so I do not have it. The molasses makes it a little darker and also gives it that kind of, you know, very familiar classic gingerbread flavor with that deeper sweetener. But if you don't have it, you can omit it. I'm just going to add a little more vanilla, I think, today to make it just a tiny bit darker. Okay, and so we do have vanilla. We have 1.5 teaspoons, which is a tablespoon, or half a tablespoon. So I'm going to measure the half teaspoon. I'm just going to add a little bit more. I love vanilla anyways. So good, but even better. Yeah, even better. I put this in my favorites post the other day. My goodness, vanilla powder, which I think I'm going to add some of this too. That is the pure bean, vanilla bean. So remember years ago, vanilla beans came out and it was a big thing. Like everyone wanted to use vanilla beans. But you have to score them and scrape down the inside and then you don't know what to do with the whole bean. Well, this is the whole bean with the beans or the seeds inside and the bean all pulverized into a powder, which technically you could do. But oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to add a little bit because it's so beautiful. I'm going to add it to the dry ingredients. I'm maybe adding 1/4 teaspoon. And then, see, this is so sticky. So sometimes when I make this, I actually, as the oven is preheating, I add this brown rice mixture with the nut butter to a bowl that is oven proof and pop it in the oven just so that it will melt it, you know, kind of like make it thinner with the heat. And then it's really easy to mix. Because then it's easier to mix it through the granola. And then we have, but I haven't done that today. So then we have the nut butter. Whoops. I need oh my heavens, that is not the right size. Okay, so it's 3 tablespoons of nut butter. And I'm just basically eyeing this. I generally can see what a tablespoon looks like. Like, this is about a tablespoon right there. And if I were to put it in the spoon, boom, a tablespoon. So a recipe like this, it's not baking in the sense of like muffins. So you really can eyeball it. It doesn't have to be spot on. Oh, and I'm using the nut jar nut butters, which, do I have the link in the description for you? I think I do. I've managed to get you guys a 10% discount. Oops, I forgot to mention that in the link. I'm just going to put it in the chat. Hang on, see if I can find the link. Oh boy, give me 2 seconds. I think I can find the link. It's in my faves post though. It is in my, oh, here's the link. Okay, I'm just going to put it in the chat. Nut jar. And 10% off. Where's percent? Okay, 10%. I don't know where percent is here. There, percent off with code Dreena. So I got in touch with the company. I'm an affiliate with them. I make a few dollars when you buy the nut jar, nut butters. I would be using them anyways because I love them, even if I wasn't an affiliate. So telling you that up front. And then you want to mix that together. But you can see I refrigerated the nut butters, mostly because I just needed to get them off my countertop. And it's a little thick, but it'll melt in once we get it in the oven. And then we have 2 to 4 tablespoons of maple syrup. So this will thin it out slightly, but offers like a different flavor than just brown rice syrup. I find if you use just brown rice syrup, it's a bit flat in flavor. So I'm using some maple syrup. That was about 3 tablespoons. And you kind of adjust it as you want. Like once you start mixing it into the rolled oats, if you see that maybe it needs a little more, you can add it. But this is coming together here now. I think that's everything. See that? It's so easy. So if you don't want to use the nut butter, you can use sunflower seed butter or pumpkin seed butter for nut-free. This is obviously not nut-free, but those are your options. I think tahini might be a little strong in flavor. If you were going to use tahini, I would do a mixture of tahini with another nut butter, unless you have a really mild tahini. Another option is to do maybe half the amount of coconut butter and a seed butter. That kind of tones down the flavor of the seed butters, because seed butters are not as kind of naturally endearing as nut butters. Nut butters are just naturally more sweet. So when we taste them, they're just like, delicious. Seed butters take some getting used to, and they're naturally more bitter. So if you're using a seed butter, you might also want more maple syrup just to kind of counteract that naturally bitter tone. And then we're adding some pumpkin seeds. And these ones are nice and thick and like have good body to them. This is the same company as the vanilla, Wilderness Poets. And so I'm going to show you the pumpkin seeds. They're from Oregon? Yes. Or is it Oregon? It's not Oregon. You guys don't pronounce it Oregon, right? You pronounce it Oregon. So it's a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to do a handful. See how nice and thick and hearty they are? I'm going to put some in and then, see, they're very thick and they have a really good bite. So I'm just going to show you much more than some pumpkin seeds that you buy in store. See that? How they're nice and, I'll get it one day. Thick they are. Yeah, they're really nice. And they have a nice color too. They have that natural green color. I think I need a few more on that. Yeah, there. So I'm going to get this on the baking tray, the baking sheet. I'm scraping out the remainder of that syrup that was in the bottom of the measuring cup. And I'm not adding the dried cranberries yet. I'll tell you why once I get this in the oven. And then we'll chat about stuff and I'll answer questions. So getting that mixed around again, if you want to, before you actually mix it, pop it in the oven. As the oven is preheating, pop the liquid mixture, the nut butter and sweeteners, then it softens it more. It makes it more melty so that when you put it on the oats, it's really easy to incorporate. And then you want to spread it out. Spread it out. We get it into the oven and get it in for, it's about 25 minutes. And about halfway through, you want to move it around so that, because the outer edges of the granola tend to get toasty quicker and they can get, not burned, but you want to just move it around maybe once. Okay, so I'm going to get this in. Uh-oh, I already have a sheet in there. Here we go. And I'm just going to put it on for 15 minutes so that I can take it out and I swear I still don't know my oven. The ovens I had before, I say ovens because I tend to go through appliances at a ridiculous pace. The oven I had before, you just press timer and the clock and then it would just go. But this one you have to press timer after, which I forget all the time. And then I often don't set the time. It's just disappears and I'm looking, thinking something is timed and it's not. It happens to me too frequently. So the cranberries, we're not adding those yet because I do find that dried fruit, it can get a bit burned in the oven for that long and dries out a lot. So really we only need to add them in the last few minutes of baking, warm it through with the mixture, and that's all we need to do. So I'll add those later. Couple of notes on the granola. If you wanted to use crystallized ginger, you could, and you could also add that just sort of at the end of baking. That would be really nice. And sometimes I add lemon zest to granola. Not this one. Like my standard granola, I'll add lemon zest right at the end. Take it out of the oven, just grate it on at the end. With this one, I think orange zest would be really nice. I haven't done it. Do I have any organic oranges here? I have organic mandarins. I might do that today. Just zest some of the mandarin on it. That would be so, so good. Mm-mm-mm. And then I'm going to look through and see if there's questions and also talk about a few other things. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Christine. She tells me I'm doing great. It's all like just, I don't know what I'm doing with these lights and everything. I know how to work my little video here. But some people have a crew doing this stuff. So hi, Diane from Arizona. What's it like there? Is it still warm? Is it nice in Arizona? I would live in Arizona, I think, if I could. And the nectar, Cindy, I got this one at Choices. So Cindy's in my area, roughly. So I got that one at Choices Market. You could probably also get it at Nature's Fair. Yeah. But you know what? The brown rice syrup was a little cheaper too. The coconut nectar, it's not cheap. It was $13. It's expensive. The brown rice syrup was $9.99. I'm going to talk about the cost of things in a minute. Thank you for asking. Simone is asking how we're doing with the rain and floods. We've fared really fine here. We're actually really close to the Washington border, which will also lead me to my next topic. So I'm going to get my stool. Hang on, guys. I've got a little bar stool kind of thing that I can sit on. This makes for great TV when I walk away. I'm just going to get off my feet. So we're really close to the Washington border, and the area that had a lot of trouble with the floods was interior BC, and we did fine. The rain we had was crazy. It was like a monsoon. And yeah, so thanks for asking, but we are doing just fine. We actually had snow on Monday and now it's gone, which I'm kind of happy about because I've had my life's worth of snow growing up in Newfoundland. Hi, Anne. I did use the brown rice syrup. I actually did a little bit of the coconut nectar too, just to show them and sort of the differences. And Anne saying she makes it for gifts too. That's awesome. In the 70s, Diane, I'd be there, I tell you. Cindy, if I don't have a preferred molasses, I usually just buy like an organic blackstrap molasses or any organic molasses. I feel like it's so concentrated. I want to use organic. I don't know. It's just something I have in my head. Yeah, Cindy's in the area that has some floods. You did okay though, Cindy, did you? The stores were cleared out. Like it looked like the apocalypse or something. It was like right at the beginning stages of COVID again. It felt like that where we saw images of some of the stores in the interior just empty, like completely empty. So what was I going to talk about? I am going to talk about, well, that's baking a bit. First, I'm going to show, I already have some of the gingerbread granola made, and I have it in a jar. This is a bigger jar. It depends on how much you want to gift to people, how much you like them. But see, this is a really, I like to put just like big billowy ribbons on them. And you could chalk this one. This is one of those labels. I'm not that fancy that I have a lot of this stuff in the house. This is one jar that I have with this little label. But you could chalk that. But I tend to buy just labels or Christmas labels and write the name of the recipe on it, like gingerbread granola. And I'll put nut free if it's not free for people. And a lot of what I use though for gifting is, especially for chocolate bark, is I reuse container jars that I've used. Like this is a jam jar and I have my chocolate bark in that. So for smaller food gifts like bark, because you don't tend to usually give like a big amount of bark, unless you really love the person, um, then this is perfect size. So we reuse a lot of jars. My cupboard is full of full of jam jars, nut butter jars, brown rice syrup jars, coconut manna jars, tahini jars, all of those. And then larger jars, you could do one that's larger like this size for the granola, or get some mason jars and fill those up and just put like ribbons on it. And it's just so festive. Put it in a nice little gift bag. And what a beautiful gift to give someone, right? I mean, people love that kind of thing. I love that kind of thing. Yeah, and saying she reuses almond butter, peanut butter, glass jars. Totally, totally. Um, Christine's asking, do I batch cook regularly to prepare for a week? Yeah, I do. And I do it not particularly just one day. Like I don't say Sunday's my batch cook day. It depends on what's in the fridge. Like Sunday, I think it was Sunday, I did batch cook a ton of food because I looked in the fridge and it looked really sparse to me. So I did a huge batch of marinated tofu for the kids so that they could have that in lunches for the week. I did a big batch of cooked quinoa. I baked some sweet potatoes, so that kind of thing. But then I usually need to top it up after about 3 days, 4 days. Christine, you have those growing kids too. That she has three boys about the same age as our three girls, and I find it's constant, like keeping on top of that. In order for them to eat well, right? Like to eat healthy, they could do lots of processed stuff real easy. And I don't mind some of the processed stuff, like totally. Some of you guys may have seen my Instagram story the other day. Dea sent me a big gift bag of goodies. Like it was so kind of them. They did it for no reason. They weren't paying me. Someone from Dea was at Veg Expo, Planted Expo that I did my demo at a couple of weekends ago. And he emailed me after and he just said, hey, saw your demo, it was really good. And I just sent him a thank you note and said, hey, that's super sweet. Thank you. Ironically, I just came back from the store with Dea shreds in my bag. And he's like, hey, let me send you a package of some stuff. And so it was not like a sponsored post or anything, but when people do something nice like that, I want to acknowledge it. I feel like that's a nice thing to do. And I posted it on Instagram. It's a ton. It's a ton of vegan cheeses. So I have a lot of it in the freezer because the kids love it. They love the vegan cheeses, and I use it in school lunches where almond or nut cheeses can't be used because of nut allergies. And also we use it for pizzas and stuff like that. But like 80% of our diet is whole foods, maybe 90%. So I don't mind that. Like that is totally okay with me. And I know some people don't want any processed foods, and I totally respect that, right? It's wherever you are in your world of eating plant-based is lovely to me. So where was I going with that? Oh, because of batch cooking. So, I could just have like lots of vegan meats in the fridge and processed cheeses and things, and they could just make sandwiches with that all the time. But I don't want them to have to rely on that as staples for their food. So I have those other things in there. And like Bridget makes her school lunch every night, and she adds, it's like lovely. She puts quinoa in there and tofu and pieces of this cooked sweet potato. And last night she was adding chopped almonds to something. And I was like, wow, she's just like really making a beautiful lunch. So that's how I kind of, I see what's there and go, okay, it's time to make more tofu. It's time to cook more potatoes. I also did a big batch of Instant Pot potatoes, and they were delicious baby potatoes. They cook in like 3 minutes. It's wonderful. Oh, thank you, Kathy, for reminding me. I was going to talk about prices and being close to the border because I go off on tangents. So yesterday I went to the States for the first time since, everything hit. Oh my gosh, it was so exciting. I'm like a kid in a candy store and I get to go over and do food shopping in the States. So I went yesterday, and on the way back, they gave me a COVID test. I had to send it in. Like I didn't have to do it at the border. It was just random. They're like, you're the random winner of this COVID test. Yay. So it was bizarre. I had to do it virtually with someone, and they guided me through the whole thing. And then I had to bring it to the lab today. it was still worth the shop to be able to go down and go to Trader Joe's. Oh my gosh, I got to Trader Joe's because we are 20 minutes from Bellingham to drive. So it depends on the border traffic if it takes longer. We used to have Nexus, but it expired. So that's the long story there. But anyhow, I drove down. I was so, so excited. And I popped into Target because I just wanted to have a look at some things real quick. A couple of t-shirts for the kids. And then I went to Trader Joe's, and then I went to Whole Foods. Oh my gosh. Guys, if you have a Whole Foods, I tell you, the quality of produce there is just much better. It's so much better than what we have. I'm not saying we don't have good produce. Like, I'm very grateful for what we have, but the quality for the price, it's shocking. So I was at Trader Joe's and I got like a bag of organic lemons, and I think they were $2.98. I think a bag of organic lemons here on sale is $5 on sale. Mostly they're about $7 a bag. A head of organic lettuce right now is the cheapest I've seen is $4 for one head of organic lettuce. And they're not big. So I don't tend to buy a lot of lettuce this time of year. I buy more kale and everything. But in the States, the heads of or like romaine are still nice and full. And we're so close. I don't know why it's that much of a difference. Really nice. And they're about maybe $2.50. Now there's an exchange, but still it's a significant difference. The cost of nuts, a lot of different produce. Organic ketchup at Trader Joe's, I think it's $2.99. It might be $1.99. I think it's $2.99. Organic ketchup here is anywhere from $5.99 to like $7 something. I don't understand it. It's bizarre. But anyhow, I had such a fun time at Trader Joe's. I went to get artichokes, and it was the one thing that they didn't have there, frozen artichokes. So I hope they're not discontinued. He said he didn't know why they weren't there. But I managed to throw down $300 at Trader Joe's anyways. But it's like stocking up on stuff that we haven't been able to get for a long time. Organic polenta tubes. Sorry, those organic polenta tubes that they have there? They're $1.99. Those are like $4 or $5 here. So I bought a bunch of those. Oh, this is one of the things I wanted to show you. So I did a post this week of some of my product faves that I've been talking about in my videos, and I think they'd be really nice gifts for the holidays as well. And one of those things was truffle salt. Well, at Trader Joe's, I saw this little tiny bottle of truffle powder, and it wasn't expensive. I think it was less than $5. Yeah, maybe around $5, I think. He says, anyone tried it? I haven't opened it yet. And so I don't think it's truffle salt. Yeah, no, there is a little bit of salt, but it's not the main ingredient. Whereas the ones that I've bought online, they're more of a seasoned salt. They're a truffle salt, whereas this is a truffle seasoning with some salt. Has anyone tried that? Anyhow, so that was very exciting. And something like lemon pepper, which is so cheap there. I think it was $1.99 or something. I pay somewhat like, I don't know, $9 or something to get that here. Yes, Cindy, we can bring items across the border, fruit and produce. There's certain things they restrict. So you'd have to go online and see like pitted things with pits, like stone fruits and cherries and things like that. Okay, I'm going to pull out the granola. It's not fully done, but I'm going to pretend it's done and show you how to finish it off. I need my mitt. Okay. So, oh, it smells amazing. Guys, it's worth making just for the smell in your kitchen. Like really, really amazing. Yeah, Christine loves those polenta tubes too. I make polenta fries with them. That's why I picked them up, and I have polenta fries in one of my books. Oh, in Plant Part Families, yeah. So I use those tubes and I just cut them into like little fry shapes, or you just cut them in discs and put them on a baking sheet. I'll have to do a show with this one. I think I need a tea time with polenta. The family loves them. Oh my gosh, they go crazy when I make those, and they're the easiest thing to make. And when you can get the organic polenta tubes for $1.99, it's a total score. Okay, showing you the granola. It smells so good. So you can see it's starting to get toasty. And I'm gonna mix it around. I am gonna add the cranberries just so you can see, and it only needs to bake for another maybe 7 or 8 minutes, so it'll be okay. I don't actually have cranberries in this one, I think because I didn't have any. And the pumpkin seeds I used were not the nice thick ones. They were ones I got at a store locally, and I just want to show you the difference because they don't look nearly as good. They don't taste as good either. Okay, now let's get one more. All right, hang on. Trying to get one that's dark so you can see the difference. So this is the one I got, just kind of like bulk, say pumpkin seeds. And these are the Wilderness Poets ones. I'll crack that one. Let's just crack this one. So it's not super different in thickness. It's a little bit thicker, but it's how big the seeds are too. And they taste much nicer. So anyways, I wanted to show you that. So mixing in the cranberries. And it's already starting to get a little clustery. See that? You can see it's getting a bit clustery. Can you see? But as it cools, that's when the clusters really shape up. So when you take it out, so I'm going to pretend this is fully baked, and I just pull it out of the oven. Just let it be and let it cool. Just let it be. Leave it alone. And then as it cools, that piece started to get away. As it cools, it will harden. And then when it's fully cooled, you can just kind of lift it up and break it into clusters. That's as easy as that. But you can see, look, already clustery. Oh, it smells so good. I'm just going to pop it in the oven and actually just turn the oven off and let it bake in the heat of the oven for the rest of the time. But let's give you one more look. All right. Isn't that nice? It's so pretty. It tastes amazing. It's good with ice cream. See how I bring ice cream into the, there's too many beeps on my oven. Bring ice cream into the mix, but like you could eat it just straight up snacking. Delicious. You can have it with, plant-based milk, of course. But you can just also, sprinkle it on yogurt, sprinkle it on ice cream, lots of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And then you can gift it up, but you need to make lots of batches to gift big jars like this, right? Because this would use up probably half a batch. So get ready. Get your oats, get your ingredients. And so I have links in there. I realized I put a link to my book where the recipe is, the gingerbread granola in Dreena's Kind Kitchen. It's on page 43. But it's also on my blog. So if you want to get it, because I don't have that link in there, I neglected to do that. So just Google gingerbread granola, Dreena Burton, and you will find it. It'll come up in the search results and you can link through and get it that way too. Okay. So I think I've answered all the questions. And thank you. Oh, right. Christine's mentioning the polenta. That's what I have in Plant Part Families. It's the croutons. It's polenta croutons in that book. So good. Same idea. You just make them small crouton shape. You guys will love that. I'll do another video with the polenta, fries, and croutons, probably after the holidays, because I want to do one before Christmas with the chocolate bark. So I'm coming back with that, okay? Thank you, everyone, beautiful, beautiful people, for showing up today and commenting and being part of the conversation. Like, it's so nice to connect with you all. And afterwards, like the post on Facebook or on YouTube, give it the thumbs up so that it gets more visibility. That would be great. And I will share again later for anyone that, well, you're not going to know because you're not watching right now, but I'll share it for everyone who didn't show up. I'll do the replay. Okay. And that's it. I've got to go pick up the girls at school soon. So have a really lovely day. I hope you're enjoying your day wherever you are and kind of feeling festive and in the holiday season. Yeah, I'll have another yummy post to share with you soon. Okay. Lots of love to you all. Lots of love. Blessings. Bye.